So here it is. You're gonna see the Slider Plus Pro in action, as well as the new Action Module from Edelkrone. That's coming up in a few minutes here, but first, the slider. I have to tell you right now that I do own the Kessler Crane Pocket Dolly, the standard length. I also own a Synovate Atlas FLT, which is their smaller, kind of more travel size version of their slider. They're both really good, but what I was really looking for is something small enough that I could even put onto my carry-on luggage. And I came across this unique design, which is the Edelkrone Slider Plus Pro. There is a Slider Plus V2, which is the version 2 available as well. And the advantages of the Pro is that it carries 30 pounds capacity opposed to only 13 pounds for the V2. So if you got a bigger rig out there, you might want to opt for the Pro. One thing that I did notice, the slider is only as stable as the sticks that you put it on. Now I'm running a pair of, these are 10-year-old Manfrotto 755Bs with the MDV head it's called. So they're about 8 pounds with the head and I can carry them on a plane. But I did notice that when sliding right to the extreme ends, you can even see with the bubble that it does sag a little bit. Now, it's not the slider that's sagging. It's the actual head, and it's not slipping, it's just kind of flexing. See, as you see, as I move it down to this end here, now I can live with that. It's very, very minimal. If you don't need travel size sticks, use a bigger tripod with a bigger head, and you'll get way more stable results. But for traveling, this is perfect. Out of the box, the Slider Plus Pro comes with a cloth belt, and I must say the cloth belt is way smoother than the rubber belt. Not to say that this isn't smooth, but it's just silky, silky smooth. The rubber belt comes with the Action Module because you need the rubber with the teeth on it so the gear can engage. So what's unique about the Slider Plus sliders opposed to other sliders in the market? You get more travel than the actual length of the slider. So for instance, this is the medium version of the Slider Plus Pro. It's 17 inches long and you get almost 20 inches of travel. So if you take one of the competitors out there like the Kessler Crane Pocket Dolly Mini, that one is 21 inches long, which is 4 inches longer than this, and only has 13 inches of travel. So I've got the slider mounted directly to the ball head of my sticks here, and then onto a 701 light duty Manfrotto head. Then the Canon C100 with EVF, it weighs about 8 pounds, and it's still a fairly compact package, especially if you're going to be working crowds, if you do special events, or for me, I go to a lot of auto shows where there's thousands of people, and you don't want to carry around your sticks with a 3-foot slider. This is almost a part of the tripod. You can easily pick this up and walk through a crowd without snagging anybody. Now on to a few things that I didn't like or maybe could use some improvement. The amount of travel here, it is impressive that you get almost 20 inches of travel. But if you take the Slider Plus V2 medium version, which is the same length slider, but it has 4 extra inches of travel, mainly due to the size of the carriage. Now, I wish they could have maybe even just split the difference and gave the Pro an extra couple inches, maybe to 22 inches. That would have been nice, maybe the next version. Second thing is, if you do decide to mount your Slider Plus Pro onto your tripod head, meaning that you're going to put a quick connect plate on the bottom of it, there is no hole for your locator pin, and it's not as secure as it could be, but I think that's a pretty easy fix. My next dislike is a big one. It's using the Slider Plus Pro on the ground. And to me, that's a big thing. Those are great shots. You can get nice and low, great perspective shots. Get lots of foreground in there, maybe some flowers, things like that. Well, with the Slider Plus Pro, the disadvantage is without the tripod, you limit how much travel you have just to the length of the slider, which is still okay. You can still get a decent amount of slide, but the problem is that you have no clearance. The other sliders out there, like the Kessler Crane or the Synovate, they have outdoor legs or all-terrain legs. I have all-terrain legs on the Synovate FLT myself, and it's great. You can put it on stairs or half of it on a hill. It raises it up about 6 inches. You can contort the legs to any angle. It's so easy to use. All they'd have to do is just make up some other legs that were longer and wider, giving it more clearance. I did talk to someone at Edelkrone, and they said that the designer has no intention of making this slider one to be used on the ground, and it is only supposed to be used on a tripod. But I think if enough people request it, maybe they'll make it. My last dislike, it's a small one, and I think it can be easily fixed. It is the manual that comes with the Slider Plus Pro. As you saw in the previous unboxing video, all it is a card, which is fine, and it steers you toward the website to their support videos, which have their manuals. Unfortunately, right now, the only video they have for the Slider Plus Pro is how to change the belt. Basically, if you go from the cloth belt to the rubber belt, which you need for the Action Module, it just shows you how to change that belt. What it doesn't tell you is how to maintain the Slider Plus Pro. After a week of using it, I'll tell you what happened. I was filming something, and I was about kind of a tilted down angle about this much, and I noticed it was binding. The slider was binding. So I emailed them, and their tech person, their response was very quick, and they told me to adjust a few screws here, a couple screws there. So I did that. It did fix the problem, but this is a precision piece of equipment here, and every little screw, I'm sure, does something. So a little tutorial on maintenance would be great. Well, on to the main event, the Action Module here, what everybody's been waiting for. First thing, you notice that packaging, of course, with Edelkrone is perfect. They have the tightest tolerances on any box, period. You know, they probably don't even have to wrap it in plastic because this box is not gonna come out during shipping. Anyways, I'm just trying to kill some time while I open this box here. There we go. Same thing as the Slider Plus Pro. Do not operate your motion control unit before watching the instructional guide videos. Once again, now they have a lot of videos on the Action Module though. I do have to admit, I did watch them. I've taken the liberty of putting on the actual battery plate. I ordered the Canon plate, which uses the Canon LPE6 batteries. If you're a Canon user, you'll probably have a drawer full of those batteries, and it can take 1 or 2 of them. If you want to extend your time, you can use that. I'm going to take the plastic off here. There you go, it's brand new. So what you have to do is you have to change your belt, as we said. So I have changed the belt to the rubber belt, and it does come with your battery plate. It comes with your camera cable of choice for your time lapse. So I ordered the Canon. I have a 7D, and also it comes with these 2 knobs here to attach the Action Module. There's 2 slots here. You just slide that there, tighten it up, just like that. As with other Edelkrone products, the build quality is very good. This almost looks like machined aluminum, but I think it's kind of like almost it's like a Delron plastic or something like that, and it's got a nice kind of a glossy matte finish to it. The only thing is the plate surrounding the screen on this particular unit here seems to be really rough. I don't know why that is. It doesn't show that in the pictures as well. So anyways, there it is. It's all hooked up. Nice thing about the Action Module is that it is fully self-contained. This one box that we put on the end is it. There's no brackets to install, no pulleys, no external battery pack that's you have a cable hanging down. This is it. It's as simple as, here is my motion control unit that I could have in my backpack right here. Yeah, I can use it without, or I can just attach it like this, and now we can do time lapse, we can do motion control. Just like that. The Action Module couldn't be simpler to use. It has one button, one little display here. It's easy to cycle through all the functions. I'm not going to go through every function. You can go to their website if you want to check out all the different things. I'm just going to show you how to do a real simple slide using the motion controller here. I'm going to hold the button down and it says recording. I'm going to move it to where I want to go. Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to hit the button again. And that's it. Now, I can adjust the speed or the acceleration of that move anytime I want on the fly. But here's one thing that you might not be expecting. There is some noise. I'm going to double click so it just loops itself. That's not one thing you really hear on the videos online. Now for me, I mainly shoot B-roll, so it's not an issue for me. But for some people, if audio is important, this might be an issue. There are other sliders out there that are motorized that have quieter motors, but you have to buy 3, 4, 5 different motors to do the job of what this one module does though. Things I think they could improve on. First thing is, I think they should have a lockout button that kind of goes over this button somehow. I don't know, but this button to me is just too easy just to hit by accident. So what happens is that if you're shooting on the fly like I do, if I'm moving, what I want to do is I want to lock the slider so it's not going to move. And I'm going to grab the whole unit, but sometimes it's already happened already. I've accidentally, I don't even want to do it right now, but I accidentally hit the actual button and it actually goes into its slide. Well, when it's locked, it has nowhere to go. So it's either going to wear out the belt or wear out the gear or both. Next thing on my wish list is a way to disengage the gear possibly with the actual action module attached to the slider still. So in my instance here is I have my action module attached, but sometimes I don't need it, but I don't want to take it off and put it away. I want to just leave it on. Well, it's not as smooth when you're using it manually with the action module on. In fact, there's actually a little bit of a bump here, as you can hear it. Now that doesn't happen when the motor's on. But if we just take this off, so there's no gear on, that is so much nicer. Now, wouldn't that be nice if you could just maybe flick a switch and it would just suck the gear in? I think that'd be great. Now my next observation, here is the gear on the action module here, and it just rides along the rubber belt here. Unlike other motion control systems, some of them use a pulley system, and the advantage of the pulley system is that you can pull a lot more weight. So this unit here, they even say it on their website, if you're gonna try to do any type of a incline or a vertical lift, this motor will not lift it, and you have to help it along. Well, I've actually noticed that yeah, you don't have to help it along. You really got to lift it as well. There is no way that this motor will lift this camera at all, period. Make sure you're aware of that. Now, after I've used this system for a couple weeks now, one thing I'd love to try out is their target module, which attaches on this side of it, and it goes like a tripod head, but it has a motor that pans your camera. So it centers your object as you're sliding, and that's going to be really, really cool. At the end of the day, life is about compromises, and you have to decide what works for you. I was looking for a motion control unit that was portable, something I could throw in my suitcase or my backpack and travel anywhere in the world and just add that little extra something to every one of my shots. So in my case, the compromise is worth it.